What I'm about to show you is going to challenge the way you think about cold feet, aching calves, heavy legs, and that strange numb feeling so many seniors quietly live with every day. Because if you've been blaming age or poor circulation or even vitamin D, there's a very real chance you've been looking in the wrong direction. And that matters more than most people realize. Right now, somewhere in America, a senior is rubbing their legs, shifting in bed, wondering why their feet feel dead, why walking feels harder, and why nothing they try seems to help. And the hidden reason may not be what their friends told them at all. I'm Dr. Michael Joel, and I need to tell you something that could change the way you look at your legs from this day forward. Before we begin, please subscribe to this channel for senior health guidance that protects independence, safety, confidence, and peace daily. Because by the end of this video, you're going to understand which vitamin I worry about first when a senior tells me their legs feel weak, numb, cold, heavy, or strangely unreliable. But more importantly, you'll know when that problem is a deficiency you can fix and when it's a warning sign you should never ignore. Let me tell you about Eleanor from Columbus, Ohio, because her story explains why this topic is so dangerous. Eleanor was 71, retired, organized, sharp, and very good at following advice. Her legs had started feeling odd about a year earlier. Not dramatic at first, just little things. Her feet felt colder than usual in the evening. Her calves felt tight when she stood in the kitchen too long. At night, she sometimes noticed a buzzing, prickly sensation in her toes, like tiny pins waking her up. She assumed it was aging. Her daughter thought it might be circulation. Her neighbor told her to take vitamin D. So she did. For 6 months, Eleanor took that vitamin D every morning with breakfast. She was consistent. She was hopeful. She waited for her legs to feel normal again. But instead of improving, the symptoms spread. The tingling climbed from her toes toward her ankles. She started feeling unsteady when walking from the bedroom to the bathroom in the dark. One afternoon at her church parking lot, she misjudged the curb and nearly fell. That's when she finally came in to be evaluated. And here's what shocked her. The first vitamin I checked wasn't vitamin D. It was vitamin B12. And when her results came back, they told the real story. Yes, the vitamin I want you to understand today is vitamin B12. Not because it's magic, not because it cures every cause of leg pain, and not because every senior with cold feet has a B12 deficiency, but because low B12 is one of the most commonly missed reasons seniors begin to feel like their legs are failing them. It can mimic poor circulation. It can worsen weakness. It can create numbness, tingling, burning, balance trouble, and profound fatigue. And because the symptoms creep in slowly, people normalize them. They say, I'm just getting older. That sentence has hidden more real disease than most people can imagine. Here's why B12 matters so much. Your body needs it to keep nerves healthy. It needs it to make normal red blood cells. And it needs it to support the basic machinery that helps your tissues work the way they're supposed to. When B12 drops too low, nerves begin to misfire. The messages traveling from your feet and legs to your brain become distorted. Sensation changes. Balance changes. The floor doesn't feel quite right. Your steps become more cautious. And if low B12 also affects your blood cells, your muscles may not get oxygen delivered as efficiently as they should. Suddenly the problem feels exactly like bad circulation, even when the story is more complicated. And that's where so many seniors get trapped, because when your feet tingle, you assume blood flow. When your calves feel weak, you assume blood flow. When your legs feel heavy at the grocery store, you assume blood flow. And sometimes you're right. Sometimes it is a circulation problem. But sometimes the blood vessels are not the first issue at all. Sometimes the nerves are sending distress signals because they're undernourished. And the reason this matters is simple. If you treat a nerve problem like it's only a blood flow problem, you lose time. You buy the wrong supplement. You wait too long. And while you're waiting, the damage can deepen. Now, here's the part most people were never taught. As we age, our ability to absorb B12 from food often drops. Not because we suddenly stop eating well, not because we did something wrong, but because the stomach changes with age. Many older adults produce less acid, and that acid is important in helping release B12 from food so the body can absorb it properly. So a senior can be eating eggs, fish, meat, dairy, and still end up low. That's why this deficiency is so sneaky. It doesn't always look like poor eating. It can happen in people who believe they're doing everything correctly. And then medications enter the picture. And this is where it gets even more serious. If you're taking metformin for diabetes or acid-reducing medications for reflux, heartburn, or stomach irritation, your risk of low B12 can rise further. I want you to hear that clearly. Some of the exact same seniors already at high risk for circulation problems, especially those with diabetes, are also at higher risk for a vitamin deficiency that can make leg symptoms worse. So now you have two problems overlapping. A person can have diabetes, possible blood vessel disease, medication-related B12 depletion, and worsening balance all at once. That combination is where falls, fear, and loss of independence begin. Let me tell you about Walter from Mesa, Arizona. Walter was 74, a former mechanic, still proud of doing his own yard work in the desert heat. He had type 2 diabetes, took metformin faithfully, and had been on a reflux medication for years. He came in because, as he put it, his feet felt wrapped in invisible socks. He could walk, but the ground didn't feel normal anymore. He wasn't in severe pain. That's what fooled him. It was the weirdness that bothered him, the disconnected feeling, like his feet were there, but not fully reporting back. His first thought was circulation. His wife thought arthritis. The real problem was a B12 level that had quietly sunk far too low. This is one of the biggest warning signs I want you to remember. Numbness, tingling, or that asleep feeling in the feet and lower legs. Not once in a while after sitting funny. I'm talking about the recurring sensation that comes back day after day. The pins and needles at bedtime. The buzzing when your shoes come off. The strange deadness in your toes when you touch them and think, why don't these feel right? That symptom should never be dismissed, especially after 60. Because once you lose accurate sensation in your feet, walking becomes less automatic. You stop trusting your own body. And when a senior stops trusting their footing, the whole world becomes smaller. The next clue is balance. This is the one families notice before the senior does. A person who used to move confidently begins reaching for furniture. They pause before stepping off a curb. They hesitate in dim hallways. They avoid stairs unless someone is nearby. They say, I'm just being careful. But the body is often telling a deeper story. Healthy nerves in the feet help the brain understand where the body is in space. When those nerves stop giving clear feedback, balance suffers. That means low B12 doesn't just create discomfort, it can quietly increase fall risk. And one fall in your 60s may be inconvenient. One fall in your 70s or 80s can change everything. Then there's the exhaustion that doesn't make sense. This is where many seniors get misdiagnosed as simply slowing down. If B12 deficiency affects red blood cell production, the body may struggle to move oxygen as effectively as it should. So what happens? Walking from the mailbox feels harder. The legs tire too fast. Climbing the front steps steals your breath. You may feel weak, pale, shaky, or unusually drained after simple tasks. And because those symptoms overlap with so many other conditions, they get brushed aside. people blame sleep. They blame weather. They blame age. But when tired legs come with tingling feet or a balance trouble, I want B12 on the radar immediately. Now let's deal with vitamin D, because this is where a lot of confusion starts. Vitamin D matters. It matters for bone health, muscle function, and many other systems in the body. I'm not dismissing it. But when a senior's main complaint is numb feet, prickling legs, burning toes, walking instability, or that eerie loss of sensation, vitamin D is often not the first missing piece I'm worried about. In other words, taking vitamin D while missing low B12 is like putting fresh paint on the front door while the wiring in the house is failing. One issue may still deserve attention, but it doesn't solve the hidden danger underneath. But before you run out and buy a bottle of B12, I need to warn you about something just as important. Not every leg symptom is a vitamin problem. And if you miss that, the consequences can be devastating. Because true circulation disease in the legs, what doctors call peripheral artery disease, is real, common, and dangerous. This is when plaque narrows the arteries and reduces blood flow, especially during walking. That means the exact same senior who thinks, maybe I just need vitamins, may actually be carrying a vascular problem that raises the risk of wounds, infection, tissue damage, stroke, and heart attack. That's why this conversation has to be handled with precision, not wishful thinking. Let me tell you about Carol from Tulsa, Oklahoma, because her story draws that line perfectly. Carol was 76 and loved walking the indoor loop at her local mall every morning. Then she noticed something peculiar. At about the same section of the route, just past the home goods store, her left calf would tighten and ache. Not randomly, not sometimes, almost the same distance every time. She'd stop, rest on the bench, and the pain would ease. Then she'd start walking again, and the pain returned. That is not how B12 deficiency usually introduces itself. That pattern, pain with walking, relieved by rest, is the classic story of arterial circulation trouble. So here's a distinction I want burned into your memory. If your legs hurt in a repeatable way when you walk and improve when you stop, especially in the calf, thigh, or buttock, think blood flow. If your feet feel numb, prickly, burning, unstable, or strangely disconnected, even when you're resting, think nerve trouble and possible B12 among the causes. The problem, of course, is that seniors don't always come with one clean textbook symptom. Many have both. A person can have diabetes, reduced sensation, weak balance, medication-related B12 deficiency, and narrowed arteries at the same time. And that's why self-diagnosis is where people get into real danger. The risk factors for poor leg circulation are also important. And if they apply to you, I want you paying close attention. Smoking, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, kidney disease, advancing age, a history of cardiovascular disease. These are the people who need to be especially cautious about assuming that a supplement alone will fix their legs. Because when arteries are involved, time matters. So yes, B12 may help restore what feels like circulation when deficiency is part of the problem. But if you have these vascular risks, you must not use a vitamin as an excuse to delay proper evaluation. That delay is where a manageable condition turns into a crisis. And there are red flags I never want you to ignore. Pain in the feet at night when lying down. A sore on the foot or toe that won't heal. One foot turning colder, paler, or more bluish than the other. A sudden drop in walking ability. Severe weakness that appears fast, or numbness that keeps advancing upward. Those are not wait and see symptoms. Those are call your doctor symptoms. And in some cases, seek urgent care symptoms. The reason I'm emphasizing this so strongly is because Seniors often tolerate too much for too long. They don't want to be dramatic. They don't want to bother anyone. But silence has cost a lot of Americans their mobility. Now let's talk about testing, because this is where hope becomes useful. If this video sounds like you, ask your doctor to evaluate for vitamin B12 deficiency rather than guessing. That may include a B12 blood level, a blood count, and sometimes other tests if the picture is unclear. Why does that matter? Because the earlier a deficiency is found, the better the chance of improvement before nerve damage becomes more stubborn. Seniors frequently wait until the symptoms are obvious. By then, they've had months, sometimes years of progression. So if your legs have been whispering to you, don't wait until they start screaming. Get clarity while the story is still reversible. And once deficiency is confirmed, treatment matters, but so does using the right strategy. Some seniors do well with oral supplements. Others need higher doses. Some need injections, especially when absorption is poor or symptoms are significant. And this is where people get into trouble online because they think every bottle on every shelf works the same way for every body. It doesn't. The real question isn't, what's the trendiest B12? The real question is, why are you low in the first place? And what is the most reliable way to correct it? Until that's answered, supplementation can become random. And randomness is not a treatment plan. Food still matters, of course. Vitamin B12 naturally comes from animal-based foods like fish, meat, poultry, eggs, milk, and other dairy products. Some breakfast cereals and nutritional products are fortified with it as well. But here's the subtle point many seniors miss. If your stomach isn't releasing B12 efficiently from food, then simply eating more steak doesn't always solve the problem. That's why older adults are often told to think seriously about fortified foods or supplements rather than assuming diet alone will rescue them. In other words, you may not have a food problem, you may have an absorption problem. And those are not the same thing at all. I also want to set realistic expectations because I never want to give false hope. When low B12 is caught and corrected, some people feel improvement in energy and sensation over weeks to months. Tingling may soften, strength may improve, walking confidence may return. But if the deficiency has been severe or prolonged, recovery may be slower and sometimes incomplete. That's not pessimism. That's exactly why early action matters so much. The body can heal, but nerves do not always forgive neglect quickly. So the goal is not just to treat deficiency. The goal is to find it before your world starts shrinking around it, before curbs feel dangerous, and before every hallway becomes a balance test. Let me take you back to Eleanor, because this is where her story becomes hopeful. Once her deficiency was recognized, her treatment plan changed. Her doctor addressed the cause, corrected the deficiency properly, and stopped treating the situation like a vague, aging complaint. Over the following months, she noticed something subtle first. Her feet felt more present. That's how she described it, more present. Then her nighttime tingling eased. Then her confidence walking across the church parking lot returned. Was it overnight? No. Was it magic? No. But for Eleanor, the right vitamin at the right time brought her legs back from the edge of something much worse. And that is the kind of turnaround people deserve. There's another reason B12 gets missed, and it's one most people never hear about. Low B12 can be associated with higher homocysteine, a blood marker that has been linked with stress on the lining of blood vessels. Now, I want to be careful here. I'm not telling you B12 is a miracle artery cleaner. It is not. But I am telling you the relationship between vitamins, nerves, blood, and vascular health is more connected than most people realize. That's why I get uncomfortable when seniors reduce leg symptoms to one simplistic phrase like bad circulation. The body is rarely that neat. Nerves, blood cells, metabolism, and vessels often overlap in the same story. And please don't forget movement, because this is critical. If your doctor clears you for activity, regular walking remains one of the most powerful ways to protect leg function. Why? Because walking helps muscles use oxygen more efficiently, supports vascular health, helps blood sugar, helps blood pressure, and preserves independence. Seniors often stop walking because their legs feel strange, and I understand that fear. But when you stop moving, weakness accelerates, stiffness rises, confidence falls. So yes, correct the deficiency if it's there. Yes, evaluate circulation if it's suspected, but do not surrender your legs to the recliner without a fight, because inactivity quietly steals function faster than many diseases do. The same goes for diabetes control, smoking cessation, and foot care. If you have diabetes, uncontrolled blood sugar can injure nerves and blood vessels at the same time. If you smoke, blood flow suffers and healing suffers. If your feet are numb, a small blister can become a major problem because you may not feel injury early. So inspect your feet, wear proper shoes, don't ignore wounds. Don't pretend a blackening toe, a lingering sore, or one suddenly colder foot is just one of those things. It isn't. That is the body asking for help in the clearest possible language. And seniors deserve to answer that language quickly, not months later. Now let me tell you about Frank from Des Moines, Iowa, because his case teaches the lesson I wish every family understood. Frank was 79 and proud of never complaining. His daughter noticed he was shuffling more and holding the hallway wall with his fingertips. He brushed it off, said he was fine, said his legs were just old. But what finally brought him in wasn't pain, it was embarrassment. He'd been at a family barbecue carrying a paper plate across the patio, and he stumbled for no clear reason. His labs later showed B12 deficiency, and his history revealed months of silent sensory loss. That stumble could easily have been a hip fracture waiting to happen. So who should be especially alert after hearing this? The senior with tingling feet, the senior on metformin, the senior taking acid-blocking medication for months or years, the senior who feels tired all the time and can't explain why, the senior who says the floor feels different, the senior who has become less steady but has no idea when it started, the senior whose memory seems a little foggier, whose legs feel weaker, whose confidence has dropped 1 inch at a time. Those are the people I do not want shrugging this off. Those are the people who need evaluation because subtle decline is still decline, even when it happens politely. And who needs quicker action? The senior with calf pain after a predictable walking distance. The senior with non-healing foot sores. The senior whose foot color has changed. The senior with new severe weakness, rapidly rising numbness, or pain that wakes them when lying flat. Those symptoms may point toward something more urgent than a simple deficiency. I don't say that to scare you. I say it because reassurance without accuracy is dangerous. A false sense of safety has delayed more diagnoses than fear ever did. So if your symptoms fit that pattern, don't sit at home comparing supplements. Make the call. Get seen. Let your legs be examined by someone who knows the difference. Now we come back to the title of this video, and I want to answer it with honesty. The one vitamin that most often surprises me in seniors with circulation complaints is vitamin B12, not vitamin D. Not because B12 is fashionable, because B12 deficiency is common, often missed, and capable of creating exactly the kind of leg symptoms people describe as circulation trouble. When that deficiency is corrected, some seniors feel like blood has come back to their legs. But what is really returned is sensation, steadiness, oxygen delivery, confidence, and trust in the body again. And for an older adult, that can feel like getting a piece of life back. I want you to remember something else. Your legs are not just limbs. They are independence. They are the ability to reach the front door, cross the parking lot, stand in the kitchen, walk through church, shop without fear, and get out of bed at night without feeling betrayed by your own feet. So when your legs begin sending strange signals, listen early. Don't explain everything away with age. Don't let a casual guess from a neighbor become your diagnosis. Don't assume that if it isn't dramatic, it isn't important. The body whispers before it screams, and seniors who respect the whisper often avoid the scream entirely. If this video helped you see your symptoms differently, hold on to that. If it reminded you of a parent, a spouse, a brother, a sister, or a friend, share it with them. Because somewhere in this country tonight, a senior will sit on the side of the bed and rub their feet, wondering why they feel numb, cold, or far away. And maybe the answer is a hidden B12 deficiency. Maybe it's arterial disease. Maybe it's something else entirely. But what they should never do is ignore it. Your body is giving you information. Your job is to respond before small losses become permanent ones. That response can change the next decade of your life. So here's my final message. If you're over 60 and your legs feel off, especially with tingling, weakness, fatigue, or balance trouble, ask whether vitamin B12 could be part of the picture. If your symptoms show a walking pattern, color change, wounds, or severe pain, ask whether circulation disease needs to be ruled out urgently. Either way, get real answers. Don't guess, don't wait, and don't assume the bottle everyone talks about is the bottle your body actually needs. Subscribe to this channel for more clear, practical health guidance for seniors. And share this with someone who keeps saying it's probably nothing, because sometimes it absolutely is not.